Well, Ambassador Joe, you've made you touched on a very, very important topic there, but I'm not sure you heard the former Commissioner of Police when he said earlier on this show that the country doesn't really need to restrict movement, and he said that in his capacity as someone who understands security and why the things have to be done the way we have been doing it. And he said pointedly that we don't have to shut down the country to organize elections. So I'm going to ask you.
I agree. I agree completely.
Yes. So I'm going to ask you, if we are going to take this conversation forward, what should be the first step, for instance?
Look, for me, this is very easy. I think yesterday I heard that there are certain other institutions that needed to be created to assist INEC. Maybe that's one. The second thing, of course, we need to do is, look, we have 73 or 75 or how many political parties? For goodness sake, and with due respect to all the leaders of those political parties, I just think that they are jokers and they help create the problems. Because look at the long list of, the long list of, the
long
ballot papers. And yet some of these so-called presidential candidates never left their homes, never left their states, never traveled anywhere. But in just declaring themselves presidential candidates, they were placed on the ballot when they shouldn't be. So we need to come out with a law, if it's not there already, that look, if you do not have a member in the National Assembly, or if a party does not have a member in the National Assembly, or does not have a governor, or does not have a member in the Senate, just disband that political party. And let's move towards 2, 3, or 4 strong political parties. Now, that will reduce INEC's problem. You cannot help political parties and their lack of internal democracy. The day political parties decide to have internal democracy without, crisis, I think would have solved about 30 to 40% of the problems. Because, again, I think as we speak, I don't know how INEC is going to add Zamfara list or people into the ballot papers they have printed. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So there are so many things that we need to begin to do. And as the commissioner rightly pointed out, look, we don't have to shut down this country to have an election. If we put everything in place, if we enlighten the populace, if political parties do their job, if the various institutions, the military, the police, the DSS, and the rest of them, if they do exactly what is expected of them, I think we can have a very good election with minimal crisis.
Ambassador Keshia, I would like to lead you in a slightly different direction at this time around. Different strokes for the two leaders of the National Assembly, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Dogara, won. The Senate President lost, and of course, Ekiti Senator Biodun Olujimi lost. In Abia State, Senator Mao Ohabunwa lost. Now it's this. It looks like the power of incumbency is being successfully challenged, and our votes actually do count. What's your take on that?
Sorry, could you come again? I lost you for a second.
Okay, I'm saying that some of the incumbent senators, including the Senate President himself, lost in their constituencies, and that now makes it apparent that the power of incumbency can be successfully challenged. That used to be very difficult in Nigeria's politics, and this time around, the people's votes do count. What's your take on that?
Well, I think that is good news. I think it will give confidence to a number of politicians who think that it is very difficult to beat an incumbent. Again, when you look around the world, incumbents have been beaten, popular politicians have been beaten, have been defeated in elections. So ours should be, nothing strange. But it gives hope to others to know that, yes, with a very good organization and a very good campaign, it is possible to defeat, an incumbent, particularly for those I would call absentee, incumbents who spend more time in Abuja and less time at their, at their constituencies, So I think it's a welcome development, and I think it will begin to teach our politicians some lessons that they need to pay close attention and, to their constituents and to the wishes of the people. And it's a significant step moving forward. And it will encourage more people, into the political, system, because now they know it is very easy, very easy, or it is possible for incumbents to be beaten. So the whole incumbency factor really doesn't work much for senators or for members of the National Assembly. I think the more conversation we need to have is incumbency at the governorship level or the presidential level. That's where we have a challenge, and that's a more interesting conversation or discussion to have, because that really plays out, not just in this country, but in almost all elections. The incumbency factor, it's real and must be factored into any discussion.
Thank you, Dr. Joe Keshi. Let me ask, you're a Nigerian, and so, yes, you say, yeah, you're you're a former police.
Thank you for confirming that I'm a Nigerian.
Yes. All right, Mr. Fatai Owosheni, you're a Nigerian. Yes, you're a professional policeman, but then, what do you think of this trend that we saw based on the much results that we have seen? What does this speak to the credibility of what we've seen so far? And what does this speak to our political space?
I think Ambassador Keshi has summed it up. We are moving on. It's also a lesson for to check impunity and all those things. I would rather want to still talk on the issue Ambassador Keshi raised.
Please go ahead.
Voters' education. It is part of the responsibility of political parties. And there is, I think, a commissioner or someone that is given that responsibility of oversight on political parties with regards to voters' education within INEC. If INEC or whichever institution that is oversighting the political parties on that can do their work seriously, I think it will help the citizens. But the thing also is that, do we really have political parties in this country? I think, without prejudice, and I'm sorry to say that, I don't think we have political parties. We only have platforms upon which people get elected into offices. And that is why you have this rancor. And that is why it is also easy for one person to jump from this so-called political party to the other. Because we see that after the election, all the people that are broken away from one party will still go back. And they now come and say, it's a family affair. So, not until when we have what is actually called political parties. I think, as of now, we don't have political parties, but a platform upon which people seek offices, political offices. So that, taking on that, we'll be able to, move on. And, of course, coming back to the violence and all those things that have been taking place, you also don't see the consequences at all, in most cases. Yes, sometimes, yes, within our institution, we've raised it before. Someone had snatched ballot box, someone had altered result sheet, someone had mutilated result sheet. They will go to tribunal. The tribunal will give a verdict and upturn the result or something like that. But no one is probably prosecuted for the criminal offense that is committed. Because you have laws. You are creating laws. The criminal law itself is enough to even prosecute these people. Because if you say that someone had altered something, that is forgery. If you can't situate it within the electoral law, you can use the criminal law to prosecute. It shouldn't be enough that when things are done like that, you upturn the result, you ask that the election should be conducted again, or if not few occasions now, that the tribunals and the courts are saying that, oh, okay, whatever emolument or allowances that you've collected for the past 3 years that you are sitting on that seat that you illegally sit on, you should refund the money. No, it shouldn't end on that.
All right, so
you don't even need an electoral offenses commission or whatever, as they say.
All right, so having raised this issue, there were cases of violence, people arrested even whilst you were in the force. And some of the things we hear the police force say is that, okay, we can confirm to you that this crime was committed. We have arrested 5 people in connection to this crime, and they will be duly prosecuted. And we know, you know that I know that we all know that some of these cases, they fizzle away. Share with us some of the constraints that the police would have in prosecuting cases. Sometimes cases that feel obvious, that it's obvious and it should be easy to be prosecuted. What are the challenges that the police sometimes face in successfully prosecuting cases?
You know, with regards to electoral offenses, you must also have the backing of INEC. You know, the law, the electoral law itself, says that the INEC person, the INEC legal department must be involved. And in most of the cases, you see a lackadaisical attitude in moving forward with regards to those cases. If you don't have INEC legal department sending their representatives or whatever to follow up those cases, the police cannot just go to court. Some of those cases too, you will also seek legal opinion as well. And of course, since the electoral law has said that for electoral offenses, INEC is the most important element that can move the case forward. That is one. Then 2, the witnesses. Because as I've told you that we only have platform. Because you've arrested someone now.
Sir, I'll allow you to speak more to this. But before we let Ambassador Joe Keshi go, I want you to speak to his immediate response to my question.
To the question of persecuting...
Yes. And his defense, his initial defense of that.
I think I beg to disagree with the commissioner that the INEC leadership or the INEC department of legal department has to, you know, push the case forward. No.
That's the law.
Look, the police are deployed to almost all polling stations in this country. Most of the activities, illegal activities conducted, snatching of ballot boxes and the rest of them, it is the police that actually do the arrest. And some of the police, police officers on the ground actually witnessed some of these things happening. So getting witnesses shouldn't be a problem. But look, let me expand this a little. This is part of the problem why our institutions are really not working, because we keep shifting the blame from one to the other and to the rest. 2, we do not also do a proper investigation. Look, every country that has developed in this world developed because they put in place a very credible, good laws that the institutions that are responsible for ensuring that the law works for the people actually works. Let me give you an example.
Yeah.
If you steal $100 from the United States government, the United States government could actually chase you to get that $100. They could spend $1 million. They could spend 5 years just to get just to get back 100,000. Somebody snatches a ballot box in an election zone.
Apologies, please, Ambassador.
It is in the afternoon. The police arrest the person, takes the person to the police station, and then the police now comes back and tell us that, oh, they are waiting for INEC. No. The first thing the police should have done is charge that guy too, and then begin to, what evidence are you looking for?
All right, Ambassador.
You, the policeman, you were there.
Ambassador. I'm told we have to take a break now. Thank you, Ambassador Joe Keshi, former Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He was with us yesterday, and he is kind enough to come back today to discuss how we can take the country forward, especially in relation to our elections.